loud. Okay. And let me just pull up my mic a little bit. And let me just first pull up Notion and that I want to share my screen. Share. Okay, perfect. So like I was saying, today is going to be like yesterday, kind of a little short lesson because it's just about virtualization. I don't want to put in the last topic of our network fundamentals, which will be about switching. We'll know the concept of switching. I don't want to add that in. I kind of want to make it just, step by step. So for today, we're just going to be talking about virtualization. So hopefully everybody was able to go over the lab from yesterday, or at least build your lab, up your lab, which is your network. You're playing around, subnetting, doing all those things that we have been doing. I hope you guys are enjoying what's happening. Hope you guys are, intaking this information and ready for more, right? Because we're just in beginning. We're coming to the end of lesson 1, which is network fundamentals. So let's get into it, right? Like I said, I always want you guys to start off in Notion, okay? Let's start off in Notion. We come here, we click into our lessons. What is a network, right? Let's go down. What did we talk about yesterday? We talked about describing wireless principles. Now we talked about, let's bring it up here. We talked a little bit about, okay, so I closed that, hold on. Let me put, okay. Okay, so we talked a little bit about IP parameters for each type of operating system, right? And hold on, let me move this out the way because it's distracting. Okay, so like I said, we talked about IP parameters for different operating systems. And since I have a Windows, I've been showing you guys this past couple of days what the IP parameters look like, at least in the command prompt on the Windows. And it looks something like this, right? We've been going through that. And there's different ways you can get to that, which is the on the Mac and the Linux, and it's IP config or IF config. And these parameters basically help you with troubleshooting to ensure that if someone is saying that they're having bad connection in the office or they have no connection in the office, guess what? This is where you would want to check to make sure that, again, layer 1 physical is good. Do you have everything connected, right? First, let's start with the cable and let's start with your computer, everything up to date on the software, all that good stuff. And you're making sure as a network engineer that these parameters are like the go-to parameters, the gateway parameters to even do anything, okay? Which is, like I said, your IP address, as you can see, your IPv4 address, your default gateway, your DNS server. You need these things to, like I said, send data over the internet. All right, so again, we talked about this yesterday. No need to beat it in your head. And then we talked about describing wireless principles, the fundamentals of wireless technology. Okay, and in this section, we went over non-overlapping Wi-Fi channels, right? Wi-Fi channels that do not overlap, they're not congested, therefore we have a better signal, we get better reception. Non-overlapping Wi-Fi channels are 5G channels and up, right? We talked about, actually, let's just go down. I could just show you guys. 5G, 5 gigahertz bands consist of non-overlapping channels, right? Anything under 5G, which we would tune it to is 2.4, it does not have non-overlapping channels. So it's more crowded. As you can see in this diagram right here, the red represents, our non-overlapping channels. As you see right here, 11, 6, and 1. So moving on, SSID. We talked about the SSID is just a service set identification. It is to identify what network that you have access to, what network that's broadcasting in your area. If you're an apartment, if you go to where you want to connect into your network settings, you'll definitely see a bunch of SSIDs. And we will change that to something that is more, better for us. We'll change it to my Wi-Fi, or our last name, or our name, or whatever. Like if I, in my apartment, I'll probably put technically speaking as the Wi-Fi name. And then, you know, we can change our password. We can keep the password defaulted. It's really just up to you. But our internet service provider provides that defaulted information. And as a network engineer, we would be that service provider that would give it to the client, give it to the customer. So we would have, if you look at this diagram, we would have our wireless access point, our wireless AP, and we would configure it. We configure it with its service set identifier. Okay, we'll configure it with other things like, well, the manufacturer will have this BSS ID, which is the basic service set identifier, and it's the MAC address. So the SSID is more like an IP address or more like a identifier. As far as the BSS ID is more MAC address. It's basically advertising the layer 2 address, which is called MAC addressing. Again, we will go into MAC addressing in layer 2, but at least you kind of can correlate SSID and BSSID. And then we went in a little bit about radio frequencies, right? I wouldn't say you have to too much understand the mechanics behind radio frequencies for the exam per se, but you should at least know that when we are using wireless technology and we are sending data across wireless technology, we're doing so using radio frequencies, right? Those radio frequencies are tuned and are measured in hertz, as you can see, is measured in hertz. And depending on which band of frequency that's measured in those hertz, that's what band we can use to tune in to do what we want. Whether we want to create sound, whether we want to create vision, whether we want to send data, whether we want to, whatever we want to do. As you can see, this is the band, the guide here for radio frequencies. And I gave you just a little chart here so you can kind of have a visual of how frequencies kind of travel. So how we measure it is frequency equals 4 cycles per 1 second. That equals 4 hertz. So a frequency equals 4 hertz. Okay, that's one frequency. And again, you can see the cycles here, you can see it. And just at the top, we have our sender, because in a wireless network, you have a sender and you have a receiver. The sender is the wireless access point, right? Your Wi-Fi box, whatever you want to call it, that you're connected to with your laptop. You have the sender, and it's sending out radio frequencies. It's sending out those, frequencies that are 4 cycles per second, those waves. And as the receiver, which is us, which is whoever on their phone connected to the Wi-Fi in the home or your laptop or whatever the case may be, you're the receiver and you're, receiving those signals, those broadcasts. Okay. And then we talked about encryption. And of course, we don't want anybody to just get on our network. So we have to have some layer of security, and that layer of security is encryption. We would definitely put in our password that is, whatever we made it to, whether it's, whatever, you can do Cisco 123. And when we send that password to access our Wi-Fi box, our wireless access point, the wireless access point has some mechanism in it that's encryption that'll send some type of code to decode it to ensure that that's your actual device that is putting in that password to access the network that the wireless device will give you, whether you're trying to get to a server or whatever you're trying to get to, instead of someone trying to come in and snoop. Now this is just like one layer of security. There's much more other layers. This layer is message integrity check. That basically means that they're just checking the integrity of this message, of this putting in the password, and is it correct? Did it actually come from the client and not someone setting up a virtual VM on their not even a virtual VM on their client, or maybe remoting in, or just somehow how they're getting into the computer. It's not them doing it. It's actually the client who they say they are. So again, we'll get into that as we talk about more about security, because it goes a little more deeper than that. And it's actually easy to set up wireless security, but we'll talk about that. And then again, that's really all it is. It is just describing wireless principles. It's not us configuring anything or doing anything crazy. We're just describing the principles of wireless technology, which is Wi-Fi channels, non-overlapping Wi-Fi channels. That's why 5G is so big. So always, when you think of wireless principles, we always want to think about 5G. Why is 5G so big? Because it's non-overlapping Wi-Fi channels. Talk about the SSID, the BSID. When you see SSIs, IDs, then you need to know like, okay, that's advertising who this network is, what this network is. It is, the name of the network and the layer 2 of the network and all that good jazz. And then you want to know about radio frequencies because that's how we send data over wireless technology. You don't even have to really go into these charts, these images here. They're here just for your knowledge, so you can kind of see a visual of radio frequencies and the spectrum that they come on. That's really it's just more knowledge, but trying not to confuse you guys, I definitely want you just to keep it on a high level. Just like with encryption, we're just encrypting, a message to ensure that the password or the client is who they say they are to get to connect to this Wi-Fi box, because even if I was to see your network and my network settings, that don't mean that I can connect to it, so that's that, right? Now today we are on virtualization, right? I like virtualization. If you like virtualization, you will probably like cloud computing. You'll probably like to be like a cloud engineer or something in that sort. Maybe even work with like AWS or Azure. Today, we're going to be working with Oracle. Oracle's just easier than the other ones that I've worked with as far as like setting up like a lab environment. And again, I'm making this for beginners, and that's why I say Oracle is kind of big. It's already good technology to have on your resume, and it's a starter. Because once you feel comfortable with Oracle, then you can actually go and get something from AWS, which you will probably have to pay for, but you're paying for your knowledge, right? You're investing in yourself. So, or Azure. Azure is a little cheaper, Microsoft. But anyway, let's get into it here. Let me close all this out really quick, pull up Notion here so I can have it. All right. So before I even go into this section, did anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about anything we talked about previously? Anything from yesterday? No? Okay. Just want to make sure. I don't want to go too quick and you guys are confused, and I want to, at least give you a chance to interrupt me if you need to, All right. So virtualization. What is virtualization? Let me actually, it's not going too crazy. Okay, so what is virtualization?
You're asking us?
Sorry, guys. Hold on. My camera just went out and sorry, technical difficulties. Can you guys still hear?
No? Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, that was cool. That was my camera went out and I was trying to get it back up, and then my lighting went out and I was trying to get that back up, but I guess we don't need my camera and my lighting. So that's fine. Let's do screen 2. Share once again. All right, so what is virtualization? So what it is it is the act of creating a virtual version of something, right? And usually we use it in a sense of computers. When we talk about virtualization, that's usually what you think of. As far as virtualization, you can think of it really anything now that we have like the metaverse and all of the type of things like cryptocurrency. We can virtualize things to where it's not actually in the physical state of it. It is something that is made by software. Okay, so anytime you think of virtual or virtualization, always think of it's something that software created, right? It was created by software. If you look at this little diagram here, this is kind of a little blurry, but you can see that this is just a regular computer. You have your regular operating system and you have your regular applications, right? Like Excel or whatever the case may be. But if you wanted to add a virtual layer to this, you'll come over here and you'll see that, yes, it's one computer, but you have a layer to where you can have 2 operating systems operating on one host. So if you have two operating systems, you can have two applications or more than one application. You have as many as the operator system allows you to, while still operating on your original system, original operating system, which can be Windows. And maybe you've downloaded a Mac, or maybe you download another instance of Windows, whatever the case may be. And if you look at the actual, in this diagram, this kind of shows you something that's a little more in depth with it. So you see the traditional architecture, hardware, that would be the computer. Operating system, that would be what we're on, Windows or Apple, whatever. And you have your applications like Zoom or Notion or whatever. Then you have your virtual architect. We're always going to start with our hardware. We need something physical to go off of, but we have our virtualization layer that will host multiple instances of operating systems, that will also host multiple instances of applications. So what we do as far as like in an enterprise world, we would have a server, and that server would host probably 1,000 virtual machines, right? And of course, let's say it's 1,000 computers. So that 1,000 computers is going to have 1,000 different operating systems with, times that with 1,000 applications, because we have, how many applications do we work with on a daily? You can kind of see here, Notion, we got Notes, we got Chrome, we got, OneNote, Slack. We got so many different applications we can download on this one operating system. So if I had 1,000 operating on one host, we can just get crazy. So that's why you have certain machines that are built a certain way, whether you want to use that machine for just virtualization, or maybe you're using it on an individual level. And when you're thinking about which device you want to use, you would think about, okay, your hypervisor. Now, let me go up here. Did we mention hypervisor up here? No. So cool. So hypervisor is basically the software that's needed to complete your virtualization, complete whatever you want to virtualize, right? It is basically just a computer software. Now, depends as far as one or two. As you can see, one, if you look at type one, the hypervisor is actually on the hardware. So it is a piece of software, but it can actually be inside, like hard-coded in the hardware, right? In that hardware, we call that type one hypervisor. And that's usually, you would probably use that, I would say, I think it's a Cisco USC. Let's Google that. Let me see. Let's Cisco server I think it's M. Let me just see what you find best servers. Oh, okay. So yes, USC is the Cisco Unified Computing System is a server that they have that now you can do virtualization, right? They actually embed this hypervisor into the server so you can complete, how many servers you want, and that's on the enterprise level. These servers probably cost like, a couple thousand, if not probably going into 100,000. Like, they're probably really expensive. But regardless, when you're thinking about, oh, I want to virtualize something, are you in an enterprise? Do you want to make it big? Is it something that you're playing around with, or just a small instance? And then you want to see who's hosting it as well. But before we even get there, you want to talk about, let's say you want to actually virtualize you want to have a server. You want to virtualize your own server or something. Is it for a big business? Then you'll probably use type one. Is it just for you? You'll use type two. Now, like I said, a hypervisor is just computer software that's either something like on my computer, on your computer, you have your laptop, you have your Windows or Mac OS, and then you can download like a software, like a piece of software. You can download AWS software, like I said, Azure software, or really anything. You can just, whatever company actually provides this virtualization for you to do. Today, we will have Oracle is what we'll download. And then, of course, once you download that, you have your different, virtual machines. Um, you can do type 1. Type 1, like I said, that's enterprise. So me working at AT&T as a network engineer, I would say, hey, I need a Cisco USC. I think that's what it is. Yes, UCS, a Cisco server UCS. And once I get that, it has the hypervisor on there, which, can be VMware, like I said, Oracle or whatever, is already on there. So all we have to do now is, log in and create our virtual machines. And then you can see right here, there's a little tidbit. It's a little tidbit to where type 2 means hosted. That means that you have your hardware, you already have the operating system that came along with it. It's just you're actually downloading a hypervisor to your OS system. Is what that's the path we'll be taking. And then we can make our OS. We can make our, our guest OS or different types of virtualizations. And then we have type 1. Type 1 is something that, we will have to spend thousands of dollars to get, but the hypervisor is on the hardware and we can just start making virtual machines. Okay. Now, when we're talking about virtualization, like I said, virtualization, not only can we do it as far as like making virtual machines on our own for us to host and stuff, we use it every day, right? And we don't even think that virtualization even comes in things like Outlook or iCloud or Gmail. We definitely hear AWS all the time and Azure all the time, but do you even think about, Gmail being virtualized, being something that's a company that deals with virtualization, or Outlook? Because we deal with this all the time. Now, we deal with it in these different type of categories because it's all around us, whether, we realize it or not. And these are the things that's definitely going to be in the exam. So I would suggest you really pay attention to, and this is just good to know in the field anyway, because then you can know what's happening and what you're using and what type of vendor you need to complete with certain project. Like, this is still good foundational knowledge, even if you're taking the exam or not. Okay. So when we talk about IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service, right? That means that we're going to build the infrastructure and then you can do whatever you want with my infrastructure, right? Who uses infrastructure as a service? Us, network engineers, network architects, system admins. We use AWS, Azure, because all we don't want to host it on our own, in our own premise. We want it to be hosted in the cloud. So there's a cloud company that has all these servers, these data centers, and they have all these virtualization instances going on. And we come in and we say, hey, let me buy this much space of your cloud so I can start doing whatever I want to do with it. Okay. So that's infrastructure as a service. Like I said, Amazon is one of those. Microsoft is one of those companies. Then we have platform as a service, PaaS. Okay, that's where we build. Who uses these platforms as a service companies? Software developers. So you would use Google App Engine or Azure again. And again, what they will have is they will have the server and they will have the operating system. They have the whole platform. We're just building off that platform and doing what we want to do with it, which is just really adding applications. That's why software developers are most likely the ones that's going to use platform as a service. That's how, when we get further in this course, we're going to build mobile apps. We're going to build Android apps and Apple apps. And we're going to be using platform as a service, which is called My Android Studio or My Studio. Yeah, My Android Studio. We're going to use that, which is a company, a platform as a service software that will allow us to create our own app, our own application. Well, and mobile app to be specific. So yes, that's platform as a service. And then, which all of us use, whether we're into tech or not, we use SaaS, which is software as a service, right? That is all users, that's everybody. So what is software? That means that they not only provide the servers, not only provide the operating system, they also provide the application. So what is that? That's Gmail, iCloud, Outlook. You know, you're just using the application. You don't care the back end. And on the back end, they are hosting everything. They're just giving you the app so where you can log in and create a profile, right? So software as a service, we consume it all. They have all of it for it. It's just plug and play. All we do is just go in and just start, creating a profile and using the application. We don't care about anything else. Platform as a service, they're going to give us the platform. We actually have to build the application on the platform. We got to build on that platform, whatever that is. We have the platform. We just have to build what we want to use. And then infrastructure as a service, they're just giving us the infrastructure. They're just giving us the server, the networking, all of that, because we don't have the tens and thousands of dollars to host servers and computing power in our apartment or wherever. Maybe it is a small business and we have like a little office. Where are we going to put a whole bunch of servers at? And who's going to manage those servers? And what happens if those servers go down? Like, that's a lot. When I could just pay someone a monthly subscription and have all that, and they could deal with all that, and I could just do my own thing, So this is very popular with a lot of enterprises. Like I said, they have a lot of things hosted in the cloud. I think every single contract that I've been on, from hospital to banking, PNC even had AWS. T-Mobile had Azure. AT&T had Azure. Like a lot of big name companies are outsourcing. So you definitely can work on these if you can build virtual machines and know how to navigate through at least AWS, Azure, and Oracle. Then you can just stop here and go get you a 6-figure job, right? So yeah, that's all about virtualization. What I do want to show you guys, if I can bring it up, is the lab for it. Hold on, let me get it. The lab for it. So we go in here, build a virtual machine, click here. So what I want to test here is, because my last class, we went through this. We went step by step and we went through it. And it was still a little issues going, with building it as far as after. So I want to try something different. For this class, I'm not going to go through this with you guys. I'll probably, we'll go over on a high level, but I want you guys to build this on your own. I want you to follow these instructions because it tells you step by step. Now, if you don't have Mac, I've just looked at it. Does it look like it has Mac? Hopefully none of you guys have Mac, but if you have a Mac, you might have to download Linux, or you might have to look at alternatives. I thought this one did all three. Did anyone have a Mac on here? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you have a Linux operating system?
Nope, I just have a Mac OS. Now I do have a really old Windows laptop. I will give it a try on there. I don't know if it has enough memory, but I'll give it a whirl and see if it works.
Okay.
Do you know if it requires a lot of memory?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It actually doesn't, because this is like a very basic, as you can see, it's free trial. It's not supposed to, get anything too crazy. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's all that. So what I would say, dang, and this is the one. Hold on, let me see here. Really quick. Okay. Maybe you can do this one. Yes. Okay, so this Windows, this for OS Linux. So yes, you can do this middle one right here, OS X host. I don't even know. Download that one and go through it, see what happens, because that should be as closest to Mac as possible.
Okay.
I don't want to get too far into Linux because then we'll have to, download modules and that'd be like a whole nother session. Uh, and then, Windows is proprietary. So yeah, that may be that we may even just probably do, we probably can do some AWS. So how about this? How about you guys just go through this? If you have a Mac, go through, obviously click on this one and click on that. That should be able to get you at least to download the VM because the whole point of this is for you to go through these steps. And these steps basically show you exactly like literally how you will build a virtual machine out in the real world. Um, at least from my knowledge, I've only like built a machine from ground up from Oracle and from VMware, right? These are the two, Oracle and VMware. I haven't used AWS and Azure. I've only managed those servers. I've never actually did the whole spin up process. So, but even with VMware and Oracle, that will still get you, that six-figure job, because who knows how to build virtual machines regardless. And then if you can know at least these two, then you have the knowledge to really dive in on anything. Like even though I don't know Azure, if my, manager was to say, hey, can you go and spin up a machine for Azure? I bet you I know how to do it, even though I've never done it before, right? So the whole point of this right here is just to get you familiar with these steps, because they're kind of like the same for every platform, low key. It's just different lingo. But like I said, yes, download that. You're gonna go through these. You're gonna once you download, it's gonna pop up again. These are telling you step by step. Like this is not. It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna miss a beat. So you follow it step by step. You're gonna go to this manager, click on new, right? They're gonna tell you click on expert mode, tell you exactly what to name it and everything, right? Tell you exactly the memory to put. And again, we're putting a little bit of memory because we're not gonna do nothing crazy. Um, you know, this is the instance of is 60 gigabits, but that's for our virtual machine. That's how much we want to put on our virtual machine, not necessarily on our computer, right? So it's not gonna go on our physical hard drive, it's gonna go on a fake hard drive. And then it's gonna come up and you do a little settings, you do these settings. And like I said, the purpose of this is to get you guys to actually follow instructions, on something that you've never done before. Because I've done this with my last class, and this is a really good article because it tells you step by step by step, you know. And this is the exact steps that I took when I was in the field and I was building servers with VMware. So this is great, even though if you don't know everything. But once you get here, we'll be good. Now we have class every day, so this is like a homework for you guys. Tomorrow, we're gonna have class up earlier. Let me see what time did I say. I said it was like 10 a.m. I think I put out there. I gotta go back. I'll send it out in the chat. But yes, we're gonna have class a little earlier, but we're gonna talk about switching concepts. Right, we're actually gonna talk about how data moves. How does a switch move data? Right, a little more granular than what we've already talked about, which is again still on a high level. And then Sunday, we can it's just like a free day, like a study day, and that's something that I kind of want to get on with you guys since it is a free day. Get on and start building virtual machines, at least build the Oracle with you guys, or let you guys see my Oracle one that I built, or we can actually get on AWS and learn some AWS skills, maybe do that, because Oracle is cool. If you can build this and you got the basic concepts, that's great. And then we can kind of just like hop on AWS and look at different settings and things you would do. And maybe we'll see, but we're definitely going to come back to the virtual machine because I want you guys to be able to have this on your resume. Okay. But the test is follow this, because in the field, you can't learn everything. There's so many different processes. There's so many different things that are proprietary for so many different companies. So yes, you know all of this, but you still can go in and be like, I don't know how to do this. So are you going to say you don't know how to do this and be like, well, I don't know, whatever? Are you going to put yourself out there and be like, okay, I'm smart enough to Google, right? So you may be tasked with something and you're going to have to Google the steps and you have to follow those steps and you're going to have to, hope it worked. And that's just what we do. That's what all of us do. Whether you have 10 years experience or 10 days of experience, we are Googling and we are testing, right? That's what a doctor does. A doctor has a practice. They're practicing. They don't know what's really wrong with you. They're just practicing on you. So you're going to do the same thing. You're testing on these machines. You're just qualified to do it because when you Google, you know what virtualization means. When you Google, you know what IaaS means, right? So again, you're going to use this, do something that you've never done before, without someone telling you step by step. As far as like me, you're doing it, you're reading it, you're comprehending. And guess what? At the end of this, you're going to end up with a virtual machine. It's going to be a server, a Windows server. And once you click next, again, it's just like a basic computer when you get a computer, when you buy it from like Best Buy and you got to set up. This is when you get here, that's the same thing. You set it up, do whatever you want, and then you have an instance on your computer. Like it's going to be so cool. And you can literally, right after you do that, write that on your resume. Say, I built this. Like, you can even tech write to this. You can even write how you did it, like rewrite this, in your own words, and then tech write it, save it in a PDF, and then put that on your resume and be like, look, not only did I build a virtual machine, I tech wrote to it. I explained it. And boom, like, that's another 6 figures. And you only have to continue the course. But whatever, I ain't got to beat that in y'all head. I'm about to stop sharing. And stop sharing here. And yeah, do any of y'all have any questions, comments, concerns? What's going on? Talk to me. What's happening?
So yeah, I'm actually going to be able to use my Windows computer. It looks like it's going to be fast enough to hold it down.
Okay.
So I'm going to be catching up tomorrow because I work throughout the week, a wild schedule. So tomorrow I'm going to do my the Cisco Skills for All, where you build what do you call it? You build, like, you map it out.
Yes, and packet tracer. Yes.
Yeah, packet tracer. Yeah, so I'm going to actually do that tomorrow. So is it okay if I send questions if I'm a little bit confused? Because I was having difficulty downloading it on Tuesday to my computer.
Okay, definitely. If you have any questions, for sure. You said tomorrow you're going to spend that day doing all that?
Yeah, tomorrow after 3 p.m. Yeah, because I'm going to be listening to you on the road tomorrow when we meet at 10.
Okay. Well, yeah, cool. If you have any questions anytime, definitely reach out and I don't mind helping out. Especially like you said, send it through just Discord will be great because some people may be, where you're at as well, and they may need those questions. So you could definitely send it in the Discord, computer science chat, and I would answer all the questions. And if anybody else can answer questions, they definitely can because I have older students that are in this course. Sometimes they come to the live, sometimes they don't, but I try to encourage them to help you guys as well.
Okay. And my last question is about studying styles. So when you were studying initially, did you find yourself, because you were unfamiliar with some of this terminology and it was brand new, did you find yourself just listening to the content and then listening to it again before you could actually process it?
That is correct.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would listen to it. I would just listen, just intake it, try to make it make sense on just a logical, living life type of way. And then once I did that, then I would probably write notes or either go back and then listen to it while taking notes on the things that's like, oh, okay, whatever. So while I listen to it, I'll write notes and I would make flashcards and I would talk to my peers. So at the time, I told you I went to like almost like an internship or something. So when I got kicked out, I still was able to talk to some of those folks to, kind of like relay messages. Like even some of them that got kicked out, they was just, hanging around as well. So we were able to, go back and forth with each other on what does this stuff mean? So that's why it's important to talk in the chat, talk in the Discord, talk to me when you come to live, emails, whatever. Because if you don't say it, if you don't talk it out, even if it's to yourself in the mirror, or maybe you got someone at home with you, your mom, sister, brother, family, partner, whatever, you're able to, talk to them about it, whether they understand it or not. When you say it out loud, it kind of can click to you or don't click to you, right?
Okay.
And then once you do that, you're just doing that over and over again. So, day one, you set it up, you got what you have. Day two, you are just repeating what you did day one, but you're adding in day one information as well as day two. So you're starting off with 5 flashcards, but you end up going through 500 flashcards, you know. Um, and I did that. I studied every day. I probably had like 2 hours of, like lecture time from like YouTube or stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would hammer out 4 hours of just taking notes and memorizing flashcards and reading.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
for
So
me,
about 6 hours a day.
yes, for me, I was studying 6 hours a day because I had nothing else to do. I got my CCNA in 30 days. I literally I didn't know any of this. And I told you this information is a 4-year degree. So I literally
Okay.
got this 4-year degree in 30 days because I had nothing else to do. I had nothing, like literally nothing else in my life going on. So I just went and studied. Now, yes, some of that time was definitely BSing around. I'm not going to say that I just sat there at the table, for 6 hours straight, just computer science, probably a little, drama here and there. but I definitely dedicated every single day no less than 3 hours. No less than 3 hours.
Okay.
And it was really repetition. It was really just, repeating the same things over and over. Because when I honestly, I've never taken a test like the CCNA before. I didn't even take the SAT. Like I took the ACT in school, that was like the biggest test of my life. So the CCNA was the next biggest thing. So I didn't know what to expect. So I literally tried to study everything. But when I got and took the test, I realized that, oh, this is easier than what I thought. I made it so hard, and it's multiple choice. And it's literally like, if you know these terms, if you can understand when we talk about DNS, you can kind of answer any question revolving to DNS because it's a specific technology. It only does so many things, you know? So instead of me
Mm.
having to go down the rabbit hole of what DNS is, I really just had to know, what DNS was about. Like
Hmm.
it really wasn't that deep. I made it that deep, and kudos to me because I really learned all this, and I really, but had somebody, kind of help me out, I probably would have won. The stress wouldn't have been so hard.
Okay.
Again, everything happens for a reason. I needed that stress. I needed that drive because, it was 30 days. This is 6 weeks for y'all, so it's kind of a little more time. So, and then again, you guys, honestly, since I got the CCNA and I'm out in the field, honestly, don't even need it. You just need to know this information. You just need to have this stuff on your resume. Get in the job, and they're gonna train you. You know, they're gonna train you.
Yeah,
Like,
thank you. You're boosting my confidence for real. Thank you.
oh yeah, you're welcome. Because it's really not that hard, honestly.
Mhm.
It's just it seems like it because it's so foreign to us.
Yeah.
But I really want to be a liaison for you guys because I'm in the field, and it's like I don't know why that they make it so hard or make it seem so difficult to get where, to get this place. Like it's not that hard. It's just common sense, and it's just that's why I just figured like we can do the CCNA whether you get it or not. At least you have these things on your resume, like this right here, like the things we've been talking about. Like you guys could have literally just like took notes on with the lecture, tech write it out, like put some, put the pictures in and stuff on like a PDF, like a blog, and then put on your resume and be like, I'm a tech writer, and then that's 100K skill right there. Like, like
Wow.
y'all could be gone right now. You really don't even need all this, but I don't know what y'all like. Maybe, you don't want to be a tech writer. Maybe you don't care to do that. Maybe you want to be in cloud computing or security, or you're waiting till we get to coding or waiting till we get to blockchain. Like, I don't know what y'all want. I'm just trying to give y'all, what I got, everything in my brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, if you whatever, again, that's why I kind of tell you a little bit, like if you do want to tech write, you can. So if that interests you, you can definitely be like, okay, I want to tech write, help me do that. And then we can set up some time to, get your resume together, get you some material, and put you out there. Hey, you can start looking for jobs right now if you want. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So yeah, enough with that. That anybody else or anything else, it's kind of a quick lecture. Because again, I don't want to convolute you guys. I want to keep it on one topic. So this topic about virtualization should be pretty good. And then tomorrow we can talk about Mac switching. Um, so so yeah. Okay. All right. Well, cool. You still can hit me up in Discord, you guys. So thank you for another lesson coming and joining us today.
Wait, one more question. One more question.
Yes.
Okay. so so for the past couple of days, I I just had a lot going on. But now I'm like back. With tomorrow I'm gonna go all over everything. I got my flashcards. I got everything that I
Yes.
need, notebooks.
Yes.
So now I'm just gonna go all out. But one question: where are the? You said the lives are in Notion. The
Yes.
couple lives. Well,
Yes,
the
all the
last 6
information is in Notion. And what I'm going to do, actually, you can go, you're in Discord, right?
Yeah.
Yes, go in Discord, go into the computer science channel,
Uh-huh.
and we haven't really been talking that much. So if you scroll up a little bit, you'll see
Right.
the link to well, you probably got to scroll up a lot. You'll see the link to Notion. It'll say something about Notion. Oh, maybe you got to scroll up a little too much. Let me see. I ain't think we've been chitting chatting in here.
But because I seen where you said you did like a YouTube and it's unlisted or something like that.
Yes. So
Yeah.
if you
Okay.
go, yeah, if you go to Notion, then that's where
Mhm.
all the unlisted channels, I mean unlisted videos are at.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Thank
Yep,
you.
yep. So just go in Notion and yeah, just scroll up. I'm still, oh, here it is. I'm gonna post it so it's a little fresh for you guys. Let me post it here. So yeah, just click onto that, get into Notion, and that's where all the material will be. Okay, so all the labs, the flashcards, the books, the exam topics, all the unlisted YouTube videos, which is these lives, and my contact information, and basically a software Notion for you to take notes in and use because Notion is pretty cool and we actually do use it in the field. So why not get accustomed to it now? So definitely review everything. It's not too late. Like I said, you can just go over from day one to now and then put this all on your resume and go out and look for a job while you're still doing this. So no worries about any of that. Definitely reach
And
out.
you
Yes.
don't need your CNAA just yet.
Not to be a tech writer. Definitely no, not to be a tech writer. You a tech writer, that's the 100K skill that you can get right now. To build virtual machines, you could put that on your resume, but then they're gonna ask you more about it, and you might want to have a little more experience, which may take a couple of weeks, may take you a week or two, depends on how
Mhm.
much you're studying on building virtual machines. But at least for tech writing, for sure, you can take this whole for a couple of days and go and get some money.
Okay.
Yeah, go and get some money. And again, if this is your first time, you may not actually get the 100K. You may get something like
So,
75K.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
At
but that's
least
still good, right? That's still
right,
more than the
exactly. That's
average.
still good.
you
That's
know,
still
so
good.
yeah. Don't get hung up on the six figures because 75 is really nice, you know? So
Hmm. You
so
just got to work your way up. That's it.
exactly. And it motivates you. It
Hmm.
motivated me. When I first got my $2,000 check, I was like, oh, okay, yes. So
Right.
so it's definitely motivation. So yes, so yeah. No other questions or anything. Again, I am always here to help you guys. I'm not, going to try to, not be too busy or, I want to make sure that you guys are first because your success is my success, right? As many of you guys I can get in 100K jobs or turning your lives around, as many people that will come into my course will help me with my income, and as well, I can help them with their income. So it's all a win-win situation here. So please use me as your disposable. Like with you being in this course, that means that I am your mentor. I am here to help you get into a better job or just increase your income, period. Right? That is my job. So please use me. Please. So yeah. Bye guys. Have a good
Thank you
night.
so much. Good night.
You're welcome. See you tomorrow. Let me stop recording.